And can I just say, can y'all stop commenting on that post? Because all my notifications on my Instagram is all about ballsy and nutty races. I'm sick of it. Cut it out. Leave us alone. We meet again, episode 9. I'm Perdita. And of course, that is Erin, our resident Olympic champion here on Trackside. You're home now, back home from Prefontaine. Tell me everything. How'd it go? How was it?
Well, first off, I want to give a huge shout out to Nike and the Prefontaine Classic. Pre-50 lived up to the name.
Yes.
I know they had a slogan, a meet worthy of his name, and it definitely lived up to the hype. I was just happy to be in the race. I went there as a sub, as I mentioned on the last episode, but my training partner, Kenny, felt something in his preparations, so he wanted to play it safe and, not want to risk it. He's been on fire this year, so why risk it when you've been, hitting your stride so far? So I got in there, and if you know about the 200, lane 1 is not a good lane, but, you got to be professional. You got to adapt on the fly, and I went in the race, did what I could out of lane 1, did not get last place. I beat a couple people, got a couple points, adding towards the finals. And there's some stuff that I could work on. It's not all about winning every race. Obviously, I finished 7th, ran 20:44, which, neither of those are things that you train for. But there's little things, little nuggets that you can take and apply to training. Say that, okay, I did this well. My hip flexor felt a lot better, so I'm over the injury. Now I got a nice little training block going into the Canadian Championships, and I'm looking to do some big things there. I'm firing on all cylinders now.
Yes.
So, now it's just about going back into the trenches and grinding for the next meet. But
And
shout out to
doing that
Nike
work.
350. Yeah, and that uniform went hard. So I'm glad I got to get one of those.
Listen, lane 1 is like the tightest turn radius. You're like running like so inside. So, but it's good to have a lane.
Yeah.
It's good to have a lane. Okay, before we jump into everything that we're going to talk about today, because it is a lot, and we have some really great guests to help us break things down. We have to talk about our girl, Savannah Sutherland, 400-meter hurdle NCAA record holder. She was on our show last episode, so check out that interview. But she is now a finalist for the Bowerman. The Bowerman is like the highest honor you can get as an NCAA track and field athlete. And if she wins, okay, she would be the first Canadian woman, Erin, ever to do that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty epic. We've had people in the past win. Like I remember Cam Levins winning. I remember Derek Drouin winning.
Yes.
I feel like Andre should have won, but his year is pretty stacked, so he didn't get to win. But it's definitely an honor. It's like winning the Heisman in football, the equivalent in track and field. So there's been some studs who have won and gone on to do great things. So just being a finalist is, it's an honor on its own. But, she's got a pretty good chance to win. She did an unbelievable thing at the NCAA Championships. So, we'll see how she stacks up against the rest. But I'm obviously pulling for the Canadian.
I'm going to date myself here, and this is not me bragging, but I've won this thing twice, but it was never named the Bowerman. It was just this little trophy that they gave you, like at the end of the NCAA track meet. And I was just like, okay, they didn't even put your name on it. So it has come a long way. So Savannah girl, if we had to vote right now, you got our vote. First Canadian woman. We're
Subtle flex. You got 2 of them.
It wasn't called the Bowerman, though, so it doesn't even count. Okay, this is just me like...
We'll give it to you.
Okay, I just want to be involved, but it's not about me. It's about Savannah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So
he's nice, too.
That's right. Maybe you heard about this little track meet. Who are we kidding? It's not little. It's the Monaco Diamond League, and I know you know where I'm going with this. This was looking like a great race. The men's 200-meter start list. I was like, okay, nice. Letsile Tebogo, who, by the way, you saw it, dropped a sickening 1976 at Pre. He headlined. I looked at the sheet. It's stacked, though, right? But I'm like, on paper, nothing dramatic. He should win. But guess who, as of a few days ago, just got added to the start list? Just guess, people. Just guess. Yep. Noah, the world champion of what? Lyles. If you know, you know, just Google the quote. Anyway, the point is the 200-meter world champion will be making his 200-meter season debut against the reigning Olympic champion. I want to go there now, but we'll actually have more on that later. Okay, it is time to dissect the Prefontaine Classic, and how dare Erin and I think we should do this alone. We could, but we won't, because we've brought in an absolute titan in the world of track and field to help us. He's a world champion, a 4-time Olympic medalist. He's also a pilot. He's also a proud Trini and a broadcasting savant. I mean, how many talents could one man have? It really is not fair, but Ato Boldon is here. Thank you for making time for Trackside, my friend.
Absolutely. I've actually watched your show and enjoyed it, so I am more than happy to be here with you this evening.
Well, Perdita, I didn't know being Trini was considered
talent?
a talent, but we'll roll with it. We'll roll with it.
Hey, watch yourself. You see?
I'm a Jamaican invasion. I'm Jamaican invasion. So.
Good. Look where you going.
Anyways, yes, we definitely brought in a Titan to the show, so I appreciate you being on Trackside, but we'll get right into it. In the Prefontaine Classic, the race that everybody had circled, I'm sure you did as well, was that women's 100 meters, and it lived up to the hype. We had the entire podium at that race, plus some other superstars. But how about Melissa Jefferson-Wooden? So far this year, she's looked like the woman to beat. You know, she's beat everybody that she's lined up against. What's your take on her and her season so far?
Well, this is definitely Melissa Jefferson-Wooden 2.0. And she's always had this fire. She's always had a good engine. Her form's always been good. She's always been a gamer. But this year, it's a different ball game. And I think I will go on the record right now, not as a stretch, as saying, I don't think that there's somebody to beat Melissa in Tokyo who is not from St. Lucia. Okay. Because I feel like if we're being honest, the two of them have separated. And I know that Sha'Carri has time, but it ain't that much time. And I have some issues with the technical aspects of Sha'Carri's race from since last year, because she's not getting out of those blocks. And there's no way that you're gonna spot Melissa or Julian that much space and run them down. So I think that Prefontaine was kind of a case of, okay, I saw Melissa during Grand Slam. We all saw her. It's not just her 100. It's her confidence, it's her swag, and most importantly, her 200-meter dash. Yeah. Just to me, she's checking every box that Julian checked last year, except I think she's starting better than she ever has in her life.
So let me ask you this about Sha'Carri, since you touched on that, right? She ran 11.4 at the start of the season. People were panicked. Everyone's like, relax, it's fine. She's last at Prefontaine, which we all know is a big turning point in the season. What do you make of where she is right now? Are we hitting the panic button? I know you say there's not a lot of time, but there is still time. What do we make of this?
There is time. I think depending on who you are, you hit the panic button. I think a lot of her fans go, she'll be fine. You guys always write off our girl and she always comes through, and there's lots of time. I think that's how her fans are going to feel, and that's how they're supposed to feel. I think those of us who have a more critical eye, who look at, and you guys already know this, I don't have to explain this to you, this is for your audience. That time that Julian and Melissa just ran, you start doing those numbers and start putting like a 1.5, a 2.0 behind it instead of a headwind. We're talking mid-10 fives. This is not like, oh, they ran a good race. That is literally one of the best races ever run by a human female. And both of them did it. So to get back to the point, it's too late to think that she's going to go from, in my mind, she's going to go from where she is there to being able to, pulling up next to Julian and Melissa. But I will say that I just feel like there are other things, not just, I was injured and I'm behind, that
what
she
are those
has
things
to fix. If Sha'Carri is going to be a world champion or Olympic champion, she has to come out of the blocks better. She's not Bolt. She's not Noah. She's not... Can she run a lot of people down? Absolutely. But you're not running down somebody with a superior 200. Now start looking at who in a potential 100-meter final has better 200s. Sharika, yes. Melissa, yes now. And then Julian, who I think is going to run 21.6 this year. So for me, the men's picture is a lot more intriguing. The women, for me, unless I see something completely different between now and mid-September, I think I know where the goal's going. It's either going to St. Lucia or the U.S.
Wow. Well, you touched on it, and normally the main event is the men's 100 meters. Going back to your days when you were lining up with Donovan and everybody. But right now, the world leader is Kishane Thompson, and he took the win at the pre-classic. He looked good up until around 70, 80, and then he kind of looked like he got a little bit tight at the end. I'm not sure exactly what happened, and he had some comments after saying that he was working on some things in his race, and I don't know, him and his coach are working on some stuff. But what have you made about his season so far and just the landscape of the men's 100 overall?
I think he too, like Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, has improved. I don't think there's as clear a path. Look, him and Noah are on a collision course in Tokyo. We know that. But I need to see Noah first, because Noah is the one who's behind now. I don't want to count out guys like Benarik and Bromell and others. But for me, the path to the world title goes through Kishane. You can't look at how he's running and the times that he's running and the ease with which he's running and think that 3 people are beating him at Worlds. Now, having said that, when Kishane walked out onto the track in Paris, I said it on NBC. I said, he should win. But do not discount the lack of experience at this level. And the one thing that Kishane does not have a lot of is people pulling up next to him when he is mid-flight. Mm-hmm. And I think if we are honest, if you look at Kishane's last 15 or 20 from Paris, it was a little ragged. So to me, that is literally the only kryptonite that I can see with Mr. Thompson. That means for me, he's the favorite unless I see differently. But I want to see Noah first. I want to see Noah's 200 in Monaco, and I want to see Noah's build-up, because I got Noah wrong in 23, because I looked at, he had only gotten 3rd at trials, and the same thing, I was like, I don't like his acceleration, and he came to Budapest accelerating like crazy and starting better. So I don't want to get caught. I don't get caught often, but Noah got me that year and then let me have it by saying, how come you had Fred pick? So it's like, okay, you got me. But yeah, to me, Kishane is the favorite, and he's proven it.
There, let's talk about Letsile at Pre 1976 to win. Listen, he was in Rabat. He was like dead last, I think, in the 100. Pulled out of the 200. He's had some hamstring problems. I honestly didn't think he's going to come with 19.7, but how well does that bode for him, considering you're coming off of a month and a half and you run a 19.7 and we still have a lot of runway for him? What do you make of Letsile right now?
I continue to be impressed by him, because I too did not think that he was coming with a 19.7 until you realize, hey, 80-degree, we've all run at that facility. 80-degree day, 2.0-ish winds blowing, good winds blowing behind you. You're gonna run fast. Great atmosphere. I think it's the most people I've ever seen at 80. He is a wonder. But the best thing about him, I think right now, is he don't like Noah. Not only is he not like Noah, he doesn't like Noah. He's not afraid of Noah. So I got shots that you guys maybe didn't get, or maybe you did on
tell us
Olympic channel. When Noah is coming out in Paris with all the histrionics and the drama, he is there like I want to murder this guy. And to me, if the 100 is going to be maybe a 2 or a 3-man race, at least I can fall back on the 200, which is still, I think, relatively wide open, because I think Benarik is going to have a lot to say about who's the world champion this year too. I'm not as convinced that Letsile is going to be a 100-meter threat, but I think the podium's going to look a lot like Paris, even if it may be shuffled a little bit.
You're right, because Letsile called. He was interviewed after that 200-meter race that he won at the Olympics. He said, "I'm not loud and arrogant like Noah." But here's the thing about Letsile. Let's call a spade a spade. He doesn't do a lot of loud talking and carrying on, but he knows how to like command attention and like showboat a little bit at the end of the race. So I don't know if you remember 2022 in Cali. He broke like the under 20 world record.
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Do you remember that?
Go ahead.
And he's 10, 15 meters from the line, okay? World record winning. And he's like doing a Usain Bolt during the race to the other competitors. Come on, gimme. So Letsile, you can showboat too. And even this, did you see what he did after Pre, right? And he was asked, what is that? He's like, it's from Fortnite or something like that. I kind of like this.
I love it because it's like how people who used to live in the club and now they live in church. It's like he's a reformed showboater. It's like, I don't showboat anymore. And in fact, now I'm going to scorn all showboaters because I'm on this side where I feel like I have to have, some decorum and some dignity when I perform.
Backslide.
Yeah, it's all good, and I love that stuff. That's the stuff my generation did, right? That posturing and the posing, and y'all figure it out. And I'm gonna see you got that. That to me is the track and field that I grew up in.
I miss
so
it.
The more they go back to that, the better. So for me, a perfect world is Noah running 19.5-ish before Worlds, Benarek running 19.5-ish before Worlds, Letsile running that kind of time, and all of them sniping at each other. The hundreds decided. Now let's show up in the 200 and see what's now. Let's see who's who, because Noah now can't. There's no COVID anymore, right? Because Noah fans said, "Hey, he had COVID. That's why he lost." People who hate Noah went. He talked all that talk and then hid behind his excuse. And I'm like, okay, whoever side you're on.
They brought wheelchair for him. Remember they brought wheelchair for him?
Right. And oh my God, you reminded me of one of the funniest things I saw. And I'm like, that's the third one. Did you see at Letsile's celebration in Botswana that some of the people were in a wheelchair? I was like, you have to be from the third world, I think, to understand how our people think and how funny that is. Anyway, I just feel like the 200 could be the scene stealer in Tokyo, because now Noah is like, I had to show you, Mr. Letsile, that last year was an anomaly and it was not the rule. It's the reason why you've only beaten me once. And Letsile is going to be thinking, I have to remind you guys why I blew you all away at the Olympics. So to me, the 200 could be like the sleeper event in Tokyo.
Well, even before we get to Tokyo, we got Monaco where they're lining up together. Give us a prediction real quick. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you for your expert opinion on what he's going to run both in Monaco and in London for his 100 opener. What kind of times are you expecting out of Noah opening up so late in the season?
If Noah could still open up in 19.7, and we've just seen Letsile run that. So I think it's going to be a close race between them. And maybe give Letsile a little edge because he's a little sharper and Noah is a little further back. That to me would be ideal. If Noah loses, he's only lost once before on a Diamond League circuit, and that's to Michael Norman years ago.
2019.
So to me, if you hand Noah his second loss ever in the Diamond League in his whole pro career, to me it makes Tokyo even sweeter. But I think I go 51% Letsile, just because I feel like he is a little sharper at this point.
Listen, that little 1% will take that. That's a lot.
It might. And London might be more of the same. London might be a reverse. Maybe Noah gets really incentivized by, hearing everybody say that Letsile owns him, or
Well, listen, Noah scrubbed his whole Instagram. Noah's going through something because he scrubbed his whole Instagram. He has just a couple black and white posts talking about he's going to Monaco Hercules. So I don't know. You know how some people kind of shave their heads to signal a new beginning? I don't know.
Letsile shaved his, so
yeah, literally.
Who knows? Let's see. We're here for it.
Ato Boldon, thank you. Somebody's getting licks, so we're just going to find out who. We don't know who yet, but someone's going to give out licks. Ato Boldon, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And being Trini is a talent, as is being West Indian, so you know. Thanks, Ato.
I am Trini and Jamaican, so what?
You never claimed that one, though.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
You can change it up. I didn't know you're Jamaican. I didn't know about that one.
Yeah,
you didn't know.
It's a well-kept secret. Yes, my mother's Jamaican. Okay. My father's Trini. I think that gives me the same DNA as Dina Aftersmith.
There we go.
Right.
There we go. Thanks, Ato. Basically, we could talk to Ato all day, but we got to move on. Let's keep the pre-conversation going, though, because I don't care how many fast-twitch fibers Aaron and I have between us. We got to discuss this iconic Bowerman Mile. That race was bonkers. It looked like we knew the outcome before it happened, right? American Yared Nuguse and France's Azzedine Habs would be 1 and 2 with 600 meters to go. But Netherlands' Niels Leroy, he had other plans. With 100 meters to go, he ran them both down. He found another gear. He passes Habs, then edges out Nuguse at the line. But I have more. He not only set a national record, he hasn't run a single 1,500-meter race all season. Like Aaron, not at all. Isn't that why we run the race? Because you just never know what can happen. It doesn't matter who you count in or out. You just have to see it happen.
Hey, they say there's magic in Hayward Field, that Hayward magic everyone talks about, and you never know what to expect. I was in the stadium. for that race. I was looking for my phone, actually. I finished running the 200, and I couldn't find my phone, so I had a helper looking around, and we're looking through the stadium, and all I hear is this raucous, loud cheering. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So we quickly beeline to a TV, and I see Nagoose. He's ahead. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe he's on record pace. He's doing good. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes out of nowhere. I'm like, who is that? Is that Cole Hawker? And no, it's LaRose. So I'm like, who is that? I didn't have him on my bingo card. Yeah. So, you never know what's going to happen. People step up to the plate, and that's just the pre-classic. You can't expect the results. You got to stay tuned and watch.
Absolutely. I did feel a little bit bad for Yared, and I feel like he would have won. He could have won, but he kind of took his kind of eyes off the prize and just assumed it and kind of got nipped at the line. You got to run through the line hard, people. You got to. He'll never make that mistake again.
Maybe we need the Jamaican reporter to come back and say, did you work on your dip? If you had a little dip. Well, back to the last episode, if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, whose voice is that? That was your math teacher's voice. I know it was.
Yeah, grade 3 math teacher.
Okay, we got to move on to this next race. Next two races, because these were iconic. Here's an easy equation for all of us to solve. 2 Kenyans, 2 world records. What does that equal? Duh, it equals, of course they did. Because first it was Beatrice Chebet. They call her the smiling assassin. Just Google her, baby. Just Google her. She became the first woman to go sub 14 in the 5,000 meters. 13:58 and some change, 06 to be exact. Outstanding. Then whose turn was it next? 5th Kipyegon. Just a week after not breaking 4 in the mile, she stormed back with a vengeance, and the crowd felt it. I mean, she smashed her own record, clocking a barn-burning 3:48 to set a whole new world record. Listen, Aaron, we were on World Record Watch. I'm not saying it was because of us, but we said she would crush it. Did we not say that last episode?
I mean, we kind of manifested it. And again, shout out to last weekend. We had Kate Van Buskert, who was phenomenal on this episode. And she previewed it and pretty much said, this was probably going to happen. And lo and behold, they went out there and did their thing. World records, that's just kind of what Faith does. We have faith in Faith. She missed it in the break of the mile, although she did break her world record unofficially. So we knew she was in good shape, and she didn't disappoint. She came with all that hype and expectations. She said it as soon as she crossed the line. After that breaking 4 bonanza, she said, I want to go break the world record the next week in the 15. And then she came out and did it. And then, of course, the 5K world record as well went down. These 2 women are on a whole nother level. So shout out to them.
Shout out to them for sure. Yeah, when Faith said she wanted to break the world record, I'm like, girl, you're an overachiever. Relax. Clearly she knew. She knew what was in her legs. Okay, let's take a quick look at how some Canadian field eventers did this weekend. 2024 Olympic champion in the hammer throw, Ethan Kasberg placed second behind American Rudy Winkler, while Rowan Hamilton finished 7th in the man's hammer. Then it was Sarah Mitten in the women's shot put. She was second. It was her first top 3 performance on the Diamond League circuit this season. And we got to give some love to our girl, Cameron Rogers. She reset her own Canadian record in the women's hammer throw, 78.88. She cleared her previous record of 78.62, which she threw in May of 2023. It was also the 5th best throw ever. Interesting fact, and I kind of get why old retired athletes and track stars love to talk about themselves. Not that I do, but I'm just saying, I also set my Canadian record at Prefontaine, so I get how magical that place is. So Cameron set hers there, except I set mine, Aaron, when Cameron was in kindergarten.
What was that like? Last year?
Ago. Yeah, last
20,
year.
what?
Not 21 years ago, last year. Aaron, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this is why you get me. Yeah, I was just born 2 days ago.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's you setting your Canadian record 21 years ago, although it probably feels like yesterday. Cameron Rogers setting her, it was not too long ago. Cameron Rogers setting her record there, or us winning the relay in 2022 on U.S. soil in Eugene. Eugene Hayward Field, it's pretty nice to Canadians. I'll say, they give us some northern hospitality to their friends in the north, and we respect that. We thank them. And by the way, Perdita, you need to be a little less humble. I know we're Canadian. I know we're respectful, but you've done some great things, and we want to hear about it. P was nice like that. So shout out to yourself.
I was nice like that. I used to be that, and hopefully they can bleep that out because I want to keep my job. Anyway, don't use that. Don't use that. I know you're supposed to bleep it. It's supposed to be a joke, but don't bleep it. Bleep it. Anyway. Someone better bleep that, okay? Because I said I was a good broad. Thank you. All right, let's move on to the 400-meter hurdles at the pre-classic. Like, that was really expected to be a showdown between the Brazilian hurdler Alison dos Santos and the Olympic champion Rai Benjamin. Dos Santos took it, beating Rai in front of the home crowd for the first time since 2022. Anyways, we caught up with Alison last week. Here's that convo. Joining us now on Trackside is the one and only Alison dos Santos. Listen, two-time Olympic medalist, 2022 world champion in the men's 400-meter hurdles. We are really, really lucky to have you on the show. So thank you for coming on.
I appreciate for the invite. Of course, I'm happy to just come out here, have a shot, just like enjoy and just talk about track.
Yeah.
Alison, man, I got to ask you, the 400-meter hurdles is a crazy event. It started with Samba, who went 46, and then you guys have just been getting faster and faster, dropping the world record down to 45. You guys are dropping 46s like it's nothing. So we got 4 of the fastest 400-meter hurdle runners of all time racing each other right now, active on the circuit. Tell me what it's like to be in such a competitive event right now.
Being honest with you, I love it, I don't see myself in a different spot that I'm right now, because it's good when I have someone running really, really fast in your event, but when I have more than one leading the pace, just showing the way is pretty much amazing. It's just exciting, just go to the track and know everyone is working really, really hard to run faster, and we made 46 looks like it's an easy day, just jogging the park, and something crazy.
Light work. So Rai Benjamin, who's the Olympic champion from Paris in your event, says there's no beef. We get along. We're okay. But what's the real tea, Alison? Are you guys really that likable to each other? What's the between you, Carson, all the top guys? Do you all really get along that much?
We're pretty chill though. I think it's we respect each other,
right.
We did so much great things for the sport. Of course, I'm not gonna say we're besties. We're not gonna see the 3 of us going to have dinner and just be talking about our lives. We talk, we hang out, we can just have a conversation. We're pretty chill. There's no beef, I would say. Of course, I want to beat them, they want to beat me, and that's how track and field works. But unfortunately, I have no beef in the liver in that matter. But it's okay.
Yeah.
We're just too chill.
Cool. I understand that. Alison, I feel like you're always chasing the bag, man. Every time I turn on my TV, I see you're at a different meet. You're a Grand Slam racer, so you're running not only 2 events at the Grand Slam, but you're running the 400-meter hurdles and the Open 4. Then you're going over to Diamond Leagues. What's your mentality like when it comes to racing, man? You just like to get out there and compete, or a lot of guys don't like to run a lot, but it seems like you are different, cut from a different cloth. What's your mentality with that?
Yes, I think we do train a lot, and we have no reason to hide, that's the process. I can't tell you that I know I'm gonna be in a better shape in Tokyo. That's where I want to be running
right.
the fastest I can, just reading my PRs and everything. But throughout the process, I can allow myself to compete. The first Grand Slam in Kingston, I know I wasn't in shape to do anything amazing, but I was competitive. I knew I want to win. So I knew if I step on the line, if I step on the track, that's it. I'm betting for it, And I do like to compete because show you how fast can you run, training hard, with the intensity works and everything. So they just give us a lead. How can just control the season. So I like to compete. I like to be out there, to expose myself and show the shape that I am right now. And that also allows me to improve in the training. Because sometimes you need to change small things in your practice that you're just gonna figure it out when you compete. So that's why I like to be out there competing.
We like that. You don't scare easily. You don't back down.
Yeah, you don't duck. You don't duck.
No, don't duck.
Nah.
We had Sha'Carri Patterson on our show last week, and he said he hasn't been paid from Grand Slam. Have you been paid from Grand Slam? Are you at all concerned about that?
I'm not concerned. I haven't been paid yet, but that was the agreement. We had a conversation when I signed the contract. I knew when I was about to get paid. I was at the end of the season, so I'm not surprised. I'm not concerned about anything. I know they gonna handle in the best way. They trying the best to just just do the contract, the agreement, and I'm pretty fine about it.
Yeah. Someone told me the contract was within 30 days that they had to pay you, though, not the end of the season. Is that your understanding too?
Yeah, like I think some of contracts could be like that, but my contract was different. So that's something that I understand what they're saying, but I can't relate because my agreement was different. So I'm just hoping for the best and waiting for the end of the season.
Makes sense. If you're cool, we're cool. We're good with it. I just had to ask that because I've been curious. I've been seeing some stuff saying, some people. Okay, we're good then on that point.
After that, everyone was curious, even us. After like that news just dropped out, we're just like, okay, so what now? But now everything's just like, I think we calmed down. We came to terms with the situation. Just keep it going for the season. There's more things to do.
That's right. That's right.
Well, it seems like you're a pretty go with the flow kind of guy. So talk to me about representing Brazil. Is that like the culture out there? I know you're always dancing out there on the line and stuff and having fun. So what's it like to represent Brazil on the international stage, and how do you approach competing? Like, do you like to have fun out there and, you just enjoy what you're doing?
Yeah, I do enjoy track. Like I've been through different seasons, to different things. And like, I understand how good track can be and how much I can enjoy this. So it's more than just like, oh, that's my job. That's something that I also like to do. I like to go out there, run the hurdles, do some crazy workouts, and just challenge myself. So I do have joy while I'm practicing, while I'm doing the track and field. And represent Brazil, I think it's just amazing. Being honest with you, I love my country. I love my people. I don't think I would never change, like just run for other nations, but it's just so nice, to go out there and have like the Brazilian flag on my chest, competing for my country, and be able to get back to Brazil and see like the love they have for me, for all the respect. And I just think we good people, we just like to go with the flow. We like to support our athletes, our idols, and to be part of that like small amount of athletes. They like have the respect, have the love. It's just amazing for me. We are a huge country, so be able to just like stand out, even though like we have a lot of people to be competing, to be doing great in sport. It's just amazing for me.
Basically, you're saying if Turkey calls you to try and switch allegiances, you are not going, okay? Because you love Brazil too much.
I have to answer. I'm not going at first, but depending on how much they offer.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
We know.
I'm not leaving. Yeah, I'm not leaving.
You're not going. Turkey, don't call him. Okay, last question.
Don't call me Turkey.
Don't offer him $10,000 million quadrillion.
I would say yes. Don't do it.
Don't tempt me with a good time. So looking quickly to Tokyo and the World Championships, which are like now like over 2 months away, still so far away. What do you want to do there? What time do you want to put down? What medal goal do you have? Like, how do you frame that, part of your season, the biggest part of the season?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think talk about time is dangerous, because we do hurdles. And a bunch of things can happen, like I can just hit a hurdle and yada. I have like been dealing with this before in 2023. It was like a complicated season, but I want to run fast. I want to PR. I want to get the final and do my best result over there. If I were like 46, 28, I'll leave the track happy because I know I did my best. I know like I gave 100%, and I'm in a better shape in 2022. Like right now already, so I know I can just like run faster than that once you reach Tokyo. So I'm excited more than like thinking about times. I'm just like excited of the experience that we're gonna have over there. And the medal is just, of course, I want the gold. I want to live there with the gold records, everything. I like to compete. I like to win. So that's what I'm looking for.
Alison dos Santos, thank you so much for your time. This was a really, really fun interview for the both of us. All right, enjoy the rest of your season, and we'll see you next time.
All the best, man. I'll see you around.
See you guys around. Thank you. Take care. Ciao.
AB, you hear him? I love how he's like, yeah, I'm not worried about the Grand Slam check clearing. Like, I'll get it at the end of the summer. But someone who was like, I'm not buying any of this? Gabby Thomas, Olympic champion at 200 meters. She had something to say. So since the cancellation of Grand Slam LA, the league's socials have been posting all the previous performances, the meets, the athletes, all while owing them a reported $13 million, allegedly. Anywho, one of the league's biggest faces, media darling, Gabby Thomas, she was like, nope. On their most recent TikTok post, one of them, It had her picture, and she left a comment. She was like, "So dope. Please pay me." And she wasn't done. She added a crying emoji. Listen, they don't want no smoke with Gabby Thomas. They don't want no smoke. Grand Slam, pay her, please. Please pay her. But Aaron, I mean, I know you raced there, so this might be a little touchy for you, but like, what say you?
I gotta say, I feel like Gabby knows better. I mean, okay, it's from the optics of the sport right now. It looks bad that there's owed money and people are saying, "Hey, what's going on?" Because when they're flaunting how much prize money they're offering the athletes, that was like a feature to attract people to the league.
Yeah.
And so people might be like, "Hey, what's going on? Where's the money? Whatnot?" But when you've been in the sport and you know as an athlete, money takes a long time to clear. So right now, I feel like we're in that zone where it's not out of the realm of what has been happening in track and field on the pro side. You know, typically it takes about 60 to 90 months or 60 to 90 days to get paid. And I feel like we're still within that window.
But Aaron, I'm
And
gonna interrupt.
they-
I'm gonna interrupt. I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
interrupt. I'm gonna interrupt. You know why? Yes, and I agree with you. One meet took me a year to pay me, okay, in Poland. I ain't gonna talk about them. This
Yeah.
is 10, 15 years ago, but
Yeah.
it took a long time. But the thing is,
Shame
he said this league is different. Michael Johnson, the
Yes,
commissioner of
yes,
Grand Slam, and
yes.
I feel like we're debating this now, but he said they're different. Why are you then doing what everybody else does? Pay the people
You're
within
right.
30 days, 6 days, 7 days. Come on now. That's why I think
I
it's
get
a
it.
problem.
It's a fair criticism. And if she took the approach that, "Hey, I thought you guys are going to be different. You said this and you're not living up to it," all good. But when she's saying, like, "Pay me," and putting the crying emoji as if she's going to be homeless on the streets if she doesn't get paid, it's like, well, you know,
Gabby's fine. She's
why
very
we got to
fine.
take it there? It's a little dramatic. It's a little dramatic. I mean, I guess maybe she was being tongue in cheek. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, they
her
gotta
tone,
pay
and it's
Sha'Carri
hard to tell
first.
through
They
the
gotta pay
internet.
Sha'Carri first. Pay Sha'Carri before you pay
Yeah,
Gabby.
yeah, yeah.
Because Gabby's really fine. She's okay. She's not hurting.
Right. We don't want Sha'Carri going back to UPS, even though he's got the Nike contract now.
This is
All
true.
jokes aside, though, yeah, I just feel like, Roshan Clark's agent, he came out and he was like, "Yeah, this is pretty much what happens in track and field. It typically takes 60 to 90 days to pay athletes. And when you're a startup league, you're getting the funds right, you're paying a bigger purse. Yeah, there might be some hiccups. I just feel like let's allot them a little bit of grace. The optics don't look good, I admit, but let's give them a little time to pay because right now they're just reverting to the mean of track and field, which is paying athletes late anyways. So, at least
Okay,
by
Aaron
the time the
Brown.
check clears, it's going to be a lot more worth it. Would you rather 100 grand or 10 grand?
Okay, Aaron Brown. We'll be following this story all season long and hopefully not into next year, but okay. Look who it is. Only the GOAT of broadcasting and the voice of the Olympics for so many Canadians, newly retired as well from broadcasting, our friend, Scott Russell, wearing your Stop Free shirt. I love it. We're going to go there, but I got to say, how are you enjoying your time away? And we're so glad that you made time for us.
Hey, Perdita, Aaron, great to see you. I am enjoying retirement as much as anyone can enjoy retirement, but I still love track and field. I still love watching the pre-classic, and I still love reading all about an iconic figure like Steve Prefontaine. So it's really great to have this opportunity to speak with the two of you today.
Oh, absolutely. So 50th anniversary of the Pre-Classic. When you look at Pre's legacy all these decades later, what really comes to the surface for you?
Well, he's still an iconic figure, Perdita. And 50 years after his untimely death in 1975, just before the Montreal Olympics, he was only 24 years of age. But, Pre, as they called him, had a huge following in Eugene, Oregon, where he raced at the University of Oregon and set every American record from 2,000 to 10,000 meters. He held all of those records at one time. And the thing about Prefontaine, he was a racer who was always a front runner. He challenged the other runners to go out and get him. He had a famous saying, to give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift. And he was really one of the first charismatic figures for international track and field. And hey, listen, this is the guy that they built the Nike brand on because, Phil Knight was from the University of Oregon and Bill Bowerman from the University of Oregon and Prefontaine. They saw they had a charismatic figure to build that legacy on. And 50 years later, the pre-classic is still going strong. So he has a huge legacy.
Scott, always great to have you on the show. I feel like this is a full circle moment for me, me asking you questions this time, because you were there for the beginning of my career, all the way back in Moncton at the World Juniors in 2010. Scott, you are the broadcasting GOAT, and you've had many calls over the years. You've been on the broadcast or even in the track, in the stadium, for some iconic moments, but does any moment in particular stand out to you as your favorite? Whether it's you being in the mix zone or just being in the stadium itself.
That's so hard.
Yeah, there's a lot to choose from, but do you have one that stands out above the rest?
You put me on the spot, Aaron. I mean, I've seen a lot. You know that. I love 2010 in Moncton when you were at the World Junior Championships, and that was fantastic to see you win that medal and to carry the Canadian team. But I'm going to give you two moments. I'll take that now because I've been around for so long. Two moments. 2016, the Olympic Games. Derek Drouin, Corunna, Ontario, men's high jump, wins the gold medal. Duels with Bondarenko and Barshim. And Derek Drouin, what does he do? A perfect jumping set, 6 for 6, goes over at 2:38, which is 2 below his personal record, and in a perfect competition wins the gold medal. Absolutely fantastic result for Derek Drouin. That was just a great competition. The second one, I have to say, it involves you, Aaron, and it was in Eugene, Oregon in 2022 at the World Championships. And it's the same 4 guys, right? You, yes. Jerome Blake, Brandon Rodney, and Andre DeGrasse. And you know what? It was the first time the World Track and Field Championships, the World Athletics Championships, had been held in the United States. It's at Hayward Field, Eugene, Oregon. All the hype is there. And who wins? In a national record for the first time in 25 years at the World Championships, Canada. How about that? That was absolutely fantastic to see that. And then you guys repeat that at the Olympic Games in Paris. So there you go. There are my favorite memories.
I love it. I love it.
Iconic.
And not just because I'm involved. I love it. Those are great picks.
Did you slip him some money for that? I know you didn't at all. So, Scott, we're going to let you go. Thank you for this. But I got to know quickly, 50th anniversary of the Prefontaine Classic and, of course, Pre's death. But how old is that T-shirt that you're wearing?
I got this, Perdita, in Eugene, Oregon at the World Championships in 2022. And you know what? These T-shirts have been around a long time. At the 1972 Olympic Trials in Eugene, Oregon, the biggest meet held there at the time, everybody wore Go Pre T-shirts. And then a group of fans said, hey, let's mix things up. And they printed Stop Pre T-shirts because he was basically unstoppable. Then he won the 5,000 meter Olympic trial. So he gains his entry to his first Olympic Games. What does he do? He runs up into the crowd. He gets one of these Stop Pre T-shirts off one of the fans, and he does his victory lap in a Stop Pre T-shirt. Absolutely classic. One of the great moments in track and field that lives on to this day.
Incredible. Nice. And Scott Russell, this is why you're the GOAT. This is why we have you. Enjoy your retirement. Enjoy your cottage. I like that background. We'll see you next time, my friend.
That's a real background,
Perdita,
fellas.
2 world champions. Love you guys. See you later.
Ciao.
Thanks, Scott. Take care.
All right, Monaco, you have a tough act to follow from Tracktown, USA to the French Riviera for the 10th leg of the Diamond League Tour. Marco Arop and Sarah Mitten hold it down for the Maple Leaf, while Noah Lyles, Mondo, and Julian Alfred headline a lengthy list of global giants. Stream it at 2 p.m. Eastern this Friday on CBC Gem. All right, episode 9 is in the books, AB. We're inching really close to a 10th episode. Did you ever think we'd make it this far?
Almost in the double digits. I don't know. I mean, we got good chemistry. We're finding our stride. But after that Chris Robinson clip, I didn't know if we were going to last any longer, We took some risks there, but I think we're doing pretty well. I think we're doing well. And can I just say, can y'all stop commenting on that post? Because all my notifications on my Instagram is all about ballsy and nutty races. I'm sick of it. Cut it out. Leave us alone. We said what we said. We're done with the clip. Goodbye. See you next Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Take care.